Hello everybody, and welcome to a new series I'm making in Kerbal Space Program. So, today we're going to be exploring parts of the Kcalbeloh system, and that is the aim of this entire series, is to fully explore every planet and moon in the Kcalbeloh system. Well, maybe just some of the moons because they're kind of boring. Anyway, Kcalbeloh system is a fun planet pack, a mod of course, that installs a new star system. Well, it's more than a star system. It's a black hole with several stars orbiting, each star its own system. It's going to be a long series, but each video I'm going to try and make relatively short for you guys. I hope you enjoy watching as much as I did making, and without further ado, let's start KSP Starwalkers. Getting right into it here, let's fly into a wormhole. That's how you get to the solar system, it's through a wormhole. Anyway, now that we're on the other side, you can see that black hole over there to the right hand side of the screen, and one of our planets to the left. Now, unfortunately, as we're going to find out soon, this planet not going to be able to really land on with the landers I have, but don't worry, we will eventually. We'll send more craft. Anyway, just a little warning here, things went very, very wrong. Well, now I should have given that warning to past me, because it'll be fun for you guys, not so much for me. I've actually installed a blooper reel at the end of this. That's how bad things went. Anyway, here we are going to circularize around this planet with this spaceship I made. It's an antimatter powered craft. It's, well, it's one of the far future technologies crafts. It's pretty fun to mess around with. Far future technologies, I recommend you get it. We also have some grav wheels from stock like station parts. Honestly, this whole thing is just modded, so everything's modded. But we're going to create a capture burn here to bring down a periapsis so we can swing by this planet, because I think its name is Sera, spelled S-E-R-A, I think. Don't quote me on that. It's a really nice planet, it has some cool rings, and we'll fly by those rings. We have plenty of Delta V to do all this because of our antimatter engines. You see that over there. There's another. Maybe you caught that up in the top of the screen. I had to make a little cut there, but one of the engines for our craft was firing. Not the main craft, like the landers, and those ones should not be going off until it's time to land, which we're not doing. Anyway, I fixed that. Made a little sneaky cut. If you caught that. Here we are going to burn retrograde to lower our apoapsis and get a nice circular orbit. There's really no reason to do this because we're not going to be landing, but I just think it's nice. We have the Delta V, so why not? Now we can go ahead and look at these beautiful engines. If we take a look at the map view here, we can read about this planet a bit. Yeah, basically they give a little description here. I can read it. So basically it says that Sera is a barren, rocky planet, striking rings, and several large lakes. Fortunately, the lakes are toxic, and there is no known evidence of life on Sera. Hey, I was right, that is how you spell it. Anyway, here we are, fully captured. You can see we're flying around those beautiful ring systems, but now we actually find out where to go. So we have two landers, one of them made for moons, but obviously this is a lot bigger than a moon. It couldn't land there. The other lander is good for planets like this with atmospheres, but it takes air-breathing engines that take oxygen to use as an oxidizer, and there's no oxygen here, so we can't do that either. But don't worry, they will be explored. We could go to Duplex, but, I mean, look at that, it's boring. I mean, there's some cool crater things like that, but, like, come on. Do you really want a whole episode dedicated there? Maybe, like, a little mini-landing. Anyway, we're gonna go here, to Soluco. It is a tightly locked planet in which half of it is always facing the sun, and half away from the sun. We're heading over there now. I just made some burns, but you guys don't need to see that. So basically, here I am editing the different VFX that we have, because, I want it to look nice. Anyway, as I was saying, Soluco is a wonderful planet, where one side is day, one side is night. Because of this, there's always a constant storm in the middle. You can see when I time warp, basically, like, everything seems to be circling around the desert side of the planet, the side facing the sun. That's because the cold wind from the night side and the hot wind from the day side keep meshing and creating like these tornado-like storm across the entire planet. It's really fun, but on the little on basically the belt of the planet, you have this area that's habitable for life, which is really, really interesting. So life could not exist on the hot part because it's way too hot for water, or the cold part because it's way too cold for water. But right there in the middle, it's just right. It's the Goldilocks zone in a Goldilocks zone. So, yeah, we're going to circularize here. If you didn't catch that there, I made a little mistake earlier where basically I brought my periapsis too low. You'll see that in the blooper reel. But I corrected that with quick saves. Another thing you might be seeing is some weird cuts where things seem to jump around strangely. That's because I don't do quick saves very well. I'm really bad at remembering to do quick saves, so sometimes I just like lose like 20% of a mission and have to do it all over again. I'm trying to get better with that. But anyway, that's why you might see some weird cuts. Don't worry, you'll see most of the mistakes I make in the blooper reel, so it's fine. Little note, I'm using a couple cheats here, just want to point that out before someone calls me on the comments. I'm using infinite electricity. Don't worry, I don't need to do this, but this is because I do have those 2 fusion generators in the back there. That's enough to power my craft, basically, forever. But because of time warp, it doesn't really... Time warp is really glitchy when it comes to that, and sometimes it doesn't register that I have it, and it blows up my antimatter containment, which is annoying. So I've turned on infinite electricity, but just to avoid glitches. Another thing we did is we turned on no crash damage and unbreakable joints because this thing will shake itself apart and explode if I don't. You'll actually see that come in later, which basically the space plane that I have, we're transferring the crew over to now. Well, it's just like, it's not very good and it's not very stable. So basically, big problem with it is that it likes to flip over. I did manage to land it, but only because I had these unbreakable joints, which I realized earlier, and I actually probably will be doing a re-landing if you guys want me to. But anyway, this whole thing was filled with disaster. That's why I will be sending another spaceship to go ahead and intercept it, and basically take all the crew and continue on its mission. Here we are, accelerating down. See that cut there? That's because of how many annoying landing things had to go up. But here you'll see what I was talking about. This is not the blooper reel. This is one of our best landings. Very Kerbal landing. But anyway, yeah, that should have blown up the craft. So, just pointing that out. But, nonetheless, we are here, we are landed, and we are going to attempt to use no more cheats from here on out. Except for when I turn on infinite fuel for monopropellant reasons, because I ran out of monopropellant while docking. Another problem with this spaceplane. It's a really bad spaceplane. I built a better one. It's already on its way. You'll see that next episode. So I'm going to get Valentina Kerman out to plant a flag. Good thumbnail there. And head on back to the spaceship. Yeah. So we are going to now try and take off, but one probably the biggest error of this whole thing, and it wasn't the ship's fault, it was mine. Well, I guess everything is ship's fault is mine because I built it, but, you know, whatever. I took off in the wrong direction. And if you know anything about Kerbal Space Program, you know that's a big deal. So, also, forgot to do a quick save there. So, yeah, that's bad too. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. This craft, it does not have the Delta V to mid-orbit, completely flip its orbit around. We want you to take off here. Very nice. It actually does look really cool. I'm proud of that, but it doesn't fly well, so. Present me still has not discovered yet that we're going the wrong direction, and at this point, because of Delta V reasons, we cannot turn back. So, what we're actually going to wind up doing is, to fire those emergency engines there to get me up to speed. But what I had to end up doing was take the mothership, completely make it do a 180, flip it around, and go the other way to match our velocity. And that wound up in me crashing into Soluco. So I had to first extend its apoapsis and then do all that, and it was just a whole nightmare. So that's, you're gonna see that soon. But one reason that we can't just, you might be thinking like, oh, we can just dock them, and I'm saying you as in the yous out there who have not played Kerbal Space Program. Well, you can't just dock them if they're going at each other because, well, imagine you're in a car and your friend is in a car driving at you, you're driving at him, and you want to jump into your friend's car through the windows, like right as you pass by. Now, that's going to be a bit difficult because in this situation, the cars are going several times the speed of sound at each other, and that won't really work. What you need to do is you need to line them up moving at the same speed to even have a chance of jumping from one car to the other. Anyway, here I switched over to the space station, I extend my apoapsis a bit, and now I'm ready to begin my very long retrograde burn. I'll make a maneuver note for that there. And you can see, basically, here I'm cutting down my orbit, my velocity dropping all the way down to 0, and then I'm boosting back in the opposite direction. So there's a point here where I'm just not moving at all and start falling towards Soluco. And you're probably going to see that blooper reel. That did not end well. But, you know, I got to work eventually, and here I am plotting out some courses. Basically, I'm going to plot these guys to intercept each other relatively soon, and then I can use the mothership's engines to basically cancel out the relative velocity between us. At this point, for the car's analogy that I've been using, it would be as if your friend's car is going in the same direction as you, but kind of like going sideways. When it gets you, he can kind of turn, basically, to align his car to yours better. Yeah, you can see there, the mod gods did not like me, so I had to make lots of quick saves and quick loads. Entering, I do this again. How fun. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and do more quick save and quick loads in the future. But, nonetheless, here we are, finally lining up. So, again, annoying thing about this is that I have to do it again. Here's all this again. You use the sideways car analogy. We're coming in like at a 20-degree, maybe 30-degree angle to the lander, and what we're going to do is, we'll do it again, I guess. Oh, okay. I realized what I did there. I was a bit confused for a second, but I realized what happened there. I did it the wrong way. I burned to 0, but then I burned back in the wrong direction for no reason. I guess I just got confused. Like, I got to 0, made a quick save, and then lost my sense of direction and just undid all the things I did. Here, for the third time, I'm going to be making a course correction to finally come in to the lander, and hopefully we can dock. Yeah, it's a bit of an adventure. But, yeah, you're going to see a lot of this in the blooper reel. Anyway, we are finally coming in on the lander, where we have to make many, many more course corrections. Annoying as it may be, I hope you guys enjoy the pain and suffering that went into this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will be making more of these videos, and it'll be very, very fun. I don't know why I'm saying we, it's just me, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time making these videos. We're going to explore everything, and maybe we can even drop a probe in the black hole, see what happens there. That'll be fun. Once we finish out with this, I think I'm going to move on to some other system planet packs. Maybe I'll do some other videos in the meantime, like in between these episodes. But you know, I plan to upload once weekly, maybe once every 2 weeks, but hopefully once weekly. Anyway, here I am coming up on the spaceship. I'm using the lander here to slow our relative velocity because we have some delta V, just not enough to do that whole go to 0 and continue at the other direction thing. Sorry this had to be done at night, but at this point I was tired. I just wanted to get this mission done. So, yeah. Basically, here we are ready to dock, although thankfully the orbit gods have smiled upon us, and we are now in orbit. Isn't that nice? Sorry, not in orbit, but we are on the sunny side of the planet because of orbit. Here we are, definitely not the interstellar docking scene you might be imagining. I accidentally turned on the thrusters there. Thankfully nothing got broken. But we had to turn on infinite fuel because I ran out of modern propellant. Anyway, now going back to docking. If you ever played KSP, you probably know how arduous docking is if you're not using the Matt Lown lazy method of docking. Because, like, it's on the side and you can't really angle them to each other. But here we are. I'm trying to dock to this port over there, although I realized I cannot fit. That is a port for emergency connections of other vessels, not necessarily designed for this one, so now I have to go all the way over to the other side over here, as you'll see. By the way, this whole thing is sped up to like 7 times speed, and there's another cut. Whole thing sped up to like 7 times speed, and this took me maybe an hour just to get all this good working. But anyway, things seem to be going along nicely now, and we are slowly inching our way towards the docking port. Now the video's coming to a close, I guess. One more time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully this thing docks soon, and prepare yourself for the blooper reel, because that's coming up real soon. Yeah, we will be making more of these videos, as I said before. So, come back, tell your friends about this channel, leave a comment, everything helps. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the blooper reel.